this Diddy story because I was out yesterday and I was mad because my phone was blowing up. I was getting all these messages, everybody tagging me, everybody's posting me, everybody sending me messages about this whole Diddy thing, and I'm like, well, goddamn, I'm not even home. I couldn't get to it. By the time I got home, it was like midnight, and then I started doing all the articles. And then this morning when I got up, I even forewent the gym so I can get this whole show ready. And there was I started going to this deep dive and digging up videos and watching videos and all this other stuff. So yesterday a search warrant was sent out to the homes belonging to musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs on Monday, and is related to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. And they didn't specify whether Diddy was the specific target, but I'm guessing because of the whole thing with Cassie and all this other stuff that was going on, that this was the tea that they felt that they need to spill and bring up. So I could sit here and read this up, but I'm gonna bring up these little clips, these videos or whatever that I found online. There was one that I saw from a regular news channel, and then there was one I saw with Roland Martin where he spoke to an attorney who was really breaking the stuff down. So we're gonna play both clips because I want y'all to see it. Okay, so
Department of Homeland Security conducting a raid at a house in Holmby Hills, believed to be connected to Sean Combs, the rapper and music executive, perhaps being linked to a sex trafficking investigation.
He got some shots of a few people coming out of the home. Those people have been detained. Now, we're trying to still connect the dots. We do have some sources on scene here that we're getting this information from. We were actually the first ones here with about 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say, less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene tape came up. So we're just down the hill. If you look up this street where Tony is right now to the right, you'll see one of those Bearcats, and law enforcement. And on the other side of those bushes, basically, is that home that is registered to Bad Boy Films, which is part of Bad Boy Entertainment. And the home in particular is registered not only to Bad Boy Films, but to one of P. Diddy's daughters.
They are heavily armed, and they've been very tactful, would probably be the best word to use, as they made entry into this home this afternoon. We actually watched them as they made their way through one of these side gates, and as soon as they got inside the home, one of the first things they did was made their way into this garage that you see is open right there. Now, they did take a couple people into custody. We witnessed that. Now, are they under arrest? Are they just being asked about?
okay, so there was that. And then there was also, because his sons were also held under arrest. So they said that King Combs and Justin, who, remember, Justin was accused of possibly looking for underage girls and recruiting them to do a lot of Diddy's freak offs and that sort of thing. So a lot of that stuff was coming out too. And hear what I was saying, because I was like, you know what, Diddy, you ain't shit. Because first of all, you ran and left your kids to get infiltrated by the feds. And not only that, but see, and I don't like using the word groom, but this is a grooming situation. He groomed his sons to help keep this business going beyond the hip hop and all that other stuff. Quiet as it's kept. And it was always posted that, we started to learn that Diddy was out here pretending like he owned his businesses like Ciroc and all that other stuff. Come to find out you was nothing but a damn bona fide influencer. You was basically just like Donald Trump, renting out your name for a check. But you didn't own the shit. You weren't like George Clooney, who was out here literally with his tequila brand, because he's with the same company. He was out here literally at the dispensary working out the tequila and all the other stuff. Diddy just put his name on the shit and was like, yeah, I own Ciroc. And then when this whole case came out because they won't deal with your ass no more, then all of a sudden, you dirty. Which some people feel like because he started trying to ask for things from Hollywood and the music industry and trying to get ownership and helping Black people, people think this is the reason why they're all of a sudden coming down on him, similar to the whole Bill Cosby thing. Regardless of if that's the case, but nobody put a gun in your head and tell you to be out here doing criminal activities. Bill Cosby with the assaults and Diddy with all of this. So, yeah, two things can be true at the same time. It's like, yeah, maybe that is playing a factor in it. That's a conspiracy. We don't necessarily know. All we can do is go by what we have. But nobody told you to go out here and do all this other stuff. So, yeah, his Homely Hills mansion was infiltrated. and his home, both homes. The sons were held and detained. We saw the pictures and stuff of them where they were held under arrest and they were on the dirt and the grass or standing up or whatever case some of them was. But whatever happened to Quincy? I wonder if he was there. That's Albie Shore's son, with Kim Porter. Which some people believe that Diddy had Kim Porter on the line. Maybe she became aware of the stuff that was going on and got a little too close, and y'all had her unalived, allegedly. And the word on the street is, the people out here saying Jay-Z might be next. Beyonce, you better file for that divorce because you got Cowboy Carter coming out this week. And if they're gonna be looking into Jay-Z soon, says you better take Blue and the rest of them kids, get them far away as possible. She might breathe a sigh of relief if they come after Jay-Z. Because while he getting all this praise and stuff now, sometimes I'll be looking at Beyonce like she might be held captive secretly. But that's just me. But anyway, let's get to this Roland Martin clip because I felt like this was vitally important. That the way they broke it down, and he brought an attorney on that could break down everything and what the role of the Homeland Security is and all this other stuff. And even though we don't know a lot, I felt like you can, watching the clip, read between the lines. This is why I love free press. People like Roland Martin that is not infiltrated by the corruption of, Western media and all that other stuff. Because he gonna give you the real tea. So please hold while I pull up this clip.
News across the country, the homes of Diddy in Los Angeles and Miami have been raided by the Department of Homeland Security. About an hour ago, the news broke with regards to this raid. This right here is video from Fox 11 of their helicopter showing Diddy's home in Holmby Hills. You will see a number of people, including his sons, Christian and Justin, being led out of the home in handcuffs. You see Department of Homeland Security officers dressed in full gear, dressed with their submachine guns, conducting this raid on the home of Diddy in Los Angeles. Different reports say Diddy was at his home on Star Island in Miami. As you see, occupants of the house, you see right there, they were being placed on the ground in handcuffs. And again, two of Diddy's sons were also handcuffed. No idea as to what was the purpose of the raid. Joining us right now is attorney Monique Presley. Monique, first and foremost, walk folks through, in order to conduct this type of a raid, they have to get a warrant from a judge.
Yes, they would have to have a warrant in order to conduct this type of raid. Certainly, they would have to make a showing of probable cause in order to be able to do the raid. That doesn't mean that arrests were attendant to it. It just means that they laid out a particular bill or set of circumstances and facts which led a judge to believe it was more likely than not that they would be able to find the evidence that they were seeking in one of those properties, or at least there was justification for looking for the evidence that they were seeking in those properties.
But now we know about the lawsuit that Cassie filed against him, a number of significant charges that were leveled in that civil lawsuit. Was filed on a Thursday, was settled the very next day. She talked about being physically beaten, talked about sexual assault. There have been other lawsuits as well filed against Diddy in New York State by a number of people. And so he is facing a significant legal onslaught.
He is, but we have no way of knowing if any of those things that you just named are connected to this at all. The only statement that's been released by the government officials who conducted the raid is that the searches, the raids, were part of an ongoing investigation. We don't know what kind of investigation. And to that point, many of the news stories are colliding, smashing together the statement from the government officials and the fact that there are ongoing sexual allegations or sexual assault allegations or different types of other allegations against Mr. Combs. But that's not the statement that was made by the government. The government just said an ongoing investigation and did not say what kind. So to assume that because it was Security, to assume that it was because they're investigators. They often assist United States attorneys' offices and other offices in making investigations, particularly where it's large properties, such as in this case. There shouldn't necessarily be any conclusions drawn. And I do believe that in a short period of time, more information will be known.
This is the actual statement. Go to my iPad. Earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI New York, executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. That was from the Department of Homeland Security. First of all, what do you read in terms of the fact that this comes out, this was executed by Homeland Security in New York?
I can't read anything into it, Roland. Well, I could read lots of things into it, but
well, I'm sorry. So here's what I mean. So obviously, if Homeland Security in New York executed this, that means there's an investigation out of New York City as it relates to Diddy, and they sought assistance from Homeland Security in Miami and Los Angeles.
It means that there is an ongoing investigation there. It doesn't mean that it's the only one.
Right.
And it doesn't say anything about the subject matter of the investigation. And I just want to be clear for people who may not have an understanding of what Homeland Security does, and all they're doing is turning on the news and seeing Homeland Security specializes in sex trafficking investigation. Listen, the Department of Homeland Security works to improve security in the United States. Their work includes customs, border, immigration enforcement, emergency response to natural and man-made disasters, anti-terrorism work, cybersecurity, among others. So they could be the enforcement arm that was used for the raid, or it could be because of some of the things that other reporters and opiners are jumping to conclusions and saying. I'm just saying we really need to baby step it and listen to what they are saying and not make assumptions that they aren't saying.
So I wanted to give y'all a bit of that so that way people could be aware of exactly what Homeland Security's job is. So with all the stuff that's coming out, about the whole sex trafficking allegedly, and then there was a story that I saw somewhere that, first of all, I had totally forgotten that Diddy adopted a white girl. Her name was Ava. And they told me that she might be one of the ones that was sex trafficking, and he adopted her and passing her around and stuff, allegedly. So with him doing all this other stuff over the years, and you remember the alleged freak offs and all the other stuff and all the things that Cassie brought up in her 30-page plus lawsuit against him, which he said real quick. Remember that? So that's basically what it is that, okay, so now red flag went off after this whole Cassie case. They probably been digging into Diddy and looking into his stuff for that long period of time. And once they had enough of their I's dotted and their T's crossed, is Letitia James behind this? She a part of, because she be able to push this forward too. She probably been busy with Trump. She ain't thinking about nobody else. But I say all this to say is it's like, with the whole thing. So that's why I wanted y'all to see that and know what Homeland Security's job is. And I wanted to give y'all that specific scenario, because let's look beyond the clickbait BS that's on all these, Western media type platforms. One of the things I always love about people, particularly Roland Martin, is that he's someone who is independent. He's someone who runs his own company. So he's going to bring you the real news and hold people accountable regardless of who it is, whether his own people or people who are against, what's going on in the establishment. So that's why I wanted to bring y'all that clip, so that way everybody be aware. Because me personally, I had no idea what the job of Homeland Security was. So I just felt like I wanted to share that with you guys, so that way you go in with the knowledge and all that other stuff. Now, regards to this, do I believe all this tea coming out about Diddy and the alleged sex trafficking and all this other stuff? I do. I've been talking about Diddy has been the devil since, before it was even popular to say so. I've never liked Diddy. I've never been a fan. I've always said he wasn't shit. Like, I've been paying attention to this whole situation for decades, for as long as I've been doing celebrity news and gossip, when I was in written form and now I was in visual form. And I still do the written form. But for the most part, I've always had my foot on Diddy's neck. I don't care if people feel a certain way about saying that phrase, but I've always had, always had my ass on him. Well, no, maybe that's not a good analogy to use, because Diddy like playing with people's asses. Maybe I should start using Mace's line. So instead of saying no homo, he says no Diddy. Let me not play into that bullshit. But anyway, so um yeah, so I've always had I've always been on Diddy in regards of like him being held responsible, and people kept giving him passes and believing in this brother love facade and all this other mess, and then believe the BS that was going around. Like, oh yeah, he's giving back people's residuals and giving them back their, the ownership to their music and all this other mess. And I'm gonna sit there looking at y'all like, really? Y'all got short-term memory like y'all do with Candace Owens and this bullshit she running around with. Now all of a sudden she decided to say some stuff against her makers over there at the Jew Network with the one with the high voice and a small dick. Um Now all of a sudden we supposed to just welcome her back with open arms into the community? Like, no. I've always been like, she ain't shit. Watch out for her, and he's the same. So I'm definitely gonna be keeping my eye on this story as it develops.